right, gentlemen. Episode 2 is in the books, and here's a fair warning. I'm switching over to Crown Apple for the after show because I have an amazing question to get this real conversation started, gentlemen.
Well, I tell you what, let me just go ahead and pour me one right now because I know this is going quickly.
Because I got a question to pose that's gonna really like the old folks say, this one's a doozy. And it's gonna really tie into tonight's topic where we talked about emotional intelligence and the ability of people being able to tap into that to like we say, define phenomena and make it act in the desired manner. But we talked about emotional intelligence in this very diplomatic, organic sense. That's very what's the word I'm looking for? That's very it's right. It's good. For lack of a better word, right now it ain't coming to me. My mind is slipping away. So I want to pose a question to you all about motivational speakers and how much of that is manipulation and how much of that is emotional intelligence, and the tie-in of a manipulation and emotional intelligence. Because if you're high in emotional intelligence, let's be honest, you can be a master manipulator.
Well, I'll start with that, gentlemen, because he actually speaks. So I'll let him close this thing out with that. Here's the deal. Most people we're talking to are not stupid. And you're dealing with folks with high IQs already. And specifically, if you're dealing with someone who has had a background that is in any way, shape, form, or fashion street legal, so to speak, you can't con a con man and you can't BS a BSer. So those people read you immediately. Now, maybe you get past that initial wall, or those people may laugh, joke, or whatever, and go, we can't believe these people are paying this person to be here to do this. There comes a point where you're being measured against change, your ability to enact change. What I've found is this. The gig is up at some point, and the people with the greatest longevity, because we're not talking, I want to be really careful, because when you say motivational speakers, some folks might include some of our clergy in that as well. So I'm strictly talking.
Go there.
No, I won't. I will not.
No.
So
not necessarily go there, but I'm saying, and that was going to be the next set. But I mean, we can tie it in now. Is we do have your professional motivational speakers that hey, I mean, I'll call names. Tony Robbins. We're in no way endorsing or condemning these people, but Tony Robbins, Dave Ramsey, people that get up on stage and their job is to motivate people to do better. They speak in a very eloquent manner. They give out life skills and things of that nature. But those people, and then like you said, you have your clergy who also get up there and they're motivational speakers in the essence of what they're doing. But then we also know the manipulators, and we know the manipulators on both sides. You've got your good and your bad with everything. So, we can definitely, go there and bring it in. We don't have to condemn people personally, but go ahead.
Okay. So here it is. You just said it. There are people good and bad on both sides. And I think your EQ from a business perspective tells you to have a sense of discernment from a business risk standpoint. So you kind of see those things, so you're on high alert. From a personal level, when you talk about the spirit of discernment, or so to speak, you also have to think for yourself and exercise good decision-making for your household. See, that's when the balance between the IQ and the EQ becomes relatively important, or it escalates tremendously, because what you have is a group of folks who are exercising a couple of things. From a corporate standpoint, behavioral finance or behavioral psychology in general is being applied to situations. Group thought, or the reason why you get all these people together, is because there is a sense of having to participate. Being participatory is one of the requisite things that corporations, place upon you. If you go to a concert, for example, and this is just personal, someone says, stand on your feet. You look around, the whole arena standing up. What do you typically do? Oh, hell, let me get up. Or, I watched it in church this morning. I'm holding Dallas, and the like the pastor or the guest speaker, to me, he's an MC too. Is everybody on your feet? Give me a round of applause. Like, I need to feel good about what I'm about to bring to you as well. Can I get a this? Can I get a that? Hey, it's only communication. And as more people participate, you see the engagement go up. That's just a cultural response or a social response, so to speak. So I don't know how much of it is true manipulation because some people's intentions are pure, but you have to discern that. And there are people who may be manipulative. That information might actually help some folks because they otherwise wouldn't have accepted it in that form because that's just how they're wired and triggered. Getting it straightforward just doesn't work for them. They may need to hear the snowball effect in order to effectively cast and create a budget, because me telling them that they need a budget is not going to work because it's coming from me. If they see someone on TV say the same thing that I've told them, with wrap a bow on it, hey, that might work. And however you have to get your information, that's fine. But we all have to take responsibility and accountability for the information that we process and either the lack thereof of IQ or EQ, because as you mentioned earlier, this is muscle memory. These are exercises that you can do to strengthen that. So I'll pause there, but it's absolutely a topic that's debatable, but you're still responsible. That goes back to, if it's not your fault, it's still your problem. People are going to be manipulative in life and business in general. You have to discern who you want to align yourself with.
Yeah. Whether you're
ain't my fault. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, whether you're a person that's looked at as transformatively positive on people's lives, or a person that's looked at as a manipulative cult leader, is in a lot of ways about the directionality of what you're doing with your emotional intelligence. Because emotional intelligence is a tool, right? It's something that you can use for good, but man, you can use it for evil too. That man, Jim Jones, got all those people to drink that poisonous Kool-Aid. He was, by all accounts, a person with an infectious personality, an individual who had a high emotional IQ, emotional intelligence. He could pluck the emotion and make people feel a certain way, and what did he do with it? Complete and utter destruction, man. Yeah, man. You look at Hitler's speeches. I don't even speak German, but you're watching the way that he's talking and his body is jerking and everything, and he's looking up. Either you thinking he's a madman, but what I'm thinking and when I'm watching him, he reminds me of a preacher. He's up there showing you how emphatically he believes what it is that he believes. And, the same way that the preacher gets you, look at your neighbor and say this. This is reinforcing what it is that he's bringing out. Touch your neighbor on the shoulder. Do this. And if you're in front of a good preacher, this actually means positivity for you and the people around you, and actually preaches the gospel of love and wants people to love one another, not discriminate against one another, and actually treat people the way that Jesus would treat folks. Man, look how powerful that tool can work. But you can also use that same tool to get a bunch of people to stand outside the funeral of a fallen soldier and tell his family, scream at his family that person that died is going to hell because this country doesn't kill homosexuals.
Let's dive
you
into
see what I'm saying?
That point of, because while we're talking about emotional intelligence, I don't mean to cut you off, but while we're talking about emotional intelligence, it's very easy to, to focus on, the positive emotions, and we kind of, put the negative emotions in the back seat, but hate is very strong. And especially in the day and age that we're living in, where it's sensationalized and it's peddled, almost for profit. Well, hate is very strong, especially, in terms of motivating. And, we talked to, y'all both brought up Hitler and things, and, current circumstances prevail where you can take hate And you tap into hate, and you can become an emotional intelligence leader based off of hate. So I just wanted to throw that curveball, but also that reflective mirror into the conversation where you're like, damn, okay, well, you know what? Because you can get that hate, because even in the workplace, if you don't like somebody else, you can always go hit that other coworker or somebody, be like, hey, you know how they always be doing this and this and this. Don't you hate that shit? Yeah, man, we ought to do something about that. And now you like, you know what? I heard such and such say the same damn thing. Hey, get them in here too. Now 3 or 4 of y'all like, man, you can't stand that motherfucker too. All right, and then it becomes a thing where you gang up. We just talking corporate here. We ain't even talking corporate. It can happen at your local, 9 to 5, doing anything and everything. It happens on the block. It happens anywhere, relationships and all. If you're in a relationship and your significant others don't like you, they can all get together and be like, you know how he be talking to her like this, and then she be talking to him like that, and then you get together and be like, you know what, I did notice that, and then they, we call it haters, but a lot of times it's the truth. But if you pedal to it long enough, what I'm saying, you can catch a ride. But yeah, I just want to throw that in there.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That is, let me tell you, man, the ability to reach out, recognize people's feelings, and act in accordance. Man, look, this may surprise both of y'all, but I'm a nerd. I love Star Wars. Shocker. Anyway.
I'm a Trekkie, so calm down.
They talk about, hey, nothing wrong. I don't hate Star Trek. I love that too, because it's the most diverse, the best look at diversity in my mind in terms of sci-fi and maybe in television, especially back in the 60s in terms of television history. But I don't want to get sidetracked. Anyway, but I think about, like, when they in Star Wars, they talk about the Force. And you have the Jedi, who believe in a relatively inclusive world where people can live freely. And then you have the dark side, where you have the Sith, and they believe in power. They react to everything around them. They recognize that they have the power of the Force, and they want to shape the universe for what they want to do and don't care about nobody else. Man, the most ingenious thing that George Lucas ever did in my mind was just thinking about that and just and generalizing and creating an entire universe based on that. Because at the end of the day, that's what folks are out here doing. So when you talk about preachers, whether they're, using the word to enrich themselves versus actually trying to be a positive force out there in the world and actually help people, man, that's real. When you talk about people in the workforce, there are people who are incredibly great politically as haters in their companies, just hating on folks. Now, the funny thing is, you think that they would use that emotional ability, that emotional intelligence at some point to advance themselves, but some people are born haters. They're only good at tearing people down.
But could it also be, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to pose this question to you. Could it be that they're so blinded by hate because they haven't yet tapped into their own emotional intelligence in terms of being able to progress themselves, so that until they reach that point, they have to hold others back?
Man, look, this whole family's of haters out there that's been raised to be haters. They look at somebody gets a new car in the neighborhood. They looking up the price of the new car. Oh, that car don't cost it. They hating on that dude. Somebody get a promotion. They hating on that individual. They hating on the other people in the family. They love to see you suffer and hate to see you succeed. Right? There are people who are raised like that. They grow up in a culture where they look, the first time they see somebody with an A on the report card, they looking for a negative. They look for the B to see if something negative has happened, right? That is how they are. And I'm not saying they can't change. I'm saying that that's how they are. And in many cases, it's because that's how they were raised. They saw their parents backbiting. They saw them fighting one another. In some cases, it came out of poverty, right? They came from a place where there was lack and discomfort, and they took that in, and the family took that in, and so every little thing they get to fighting back and forth about, and it's like, oh, well, she got this and she got that, and they ain't got nothing. And then when somebody does succeed, then you're starting to trying to find the most negative thing that you can say about that. It can be exhausting, but for the people who grew up like that, it's second nature to them. And so they have to break out of a cycle to say, okay, well, I'm going to break the cycle of being haters and I want to actually achieve. And so that's their particular skill set for some folks. It's not about them moving ahead. It's about pulling other folks down. Shoot, where did the dozens come from? The dozens came from folks talking trash, slaves talking trash to other slaves. We all in a position where we all suffering. It can bring some lightheartedness, and some people brought it to that and made it funny too. But some folks, man, that's how they live their life. It's like putting down another person that's in an extraordinarily bad situation, just like your black behind, and you not pulling yourself out of it, you not pulling them out of it, you not trying to push forward ahead. You just going to talk about him because even though he big, strong, and got something going for him, his teeth look funny. That right there, I feel like I've moved further into this whole thing than I meant to. But I'm just saying, like, when you talk about people who seem like they can't quite get right, is there's a lot of negative reinforcement in terms of this whole emotional intelligence thing, or plucking on emotions, and it happens a lot in our community in a lot of different ways, not just in the church side, not just in the professional side, but also in the home side. And I think that home side, in terms of what you tell a kid, can be so much more powerful. I never tell my child anything except you can do it. This next one's gonna be even better. Let's focus. Let's get great. You know what I'm saying?
Let's talk about this encouragement.
You can talk. You know what I'm saying? When I'm talking to my daughter, I don't like that negative stuff. I'm Richard Williams with mine. I don't. That's Serena Williams' daddy. I don't like, man. Don't talk to my daughter about what she can't do. I'm not easily provoked to punch nobody in the face, but don't tell her Nia Lovin she can't do something. That's right there. You know what I mean? I don't.
Hey. Dude, you bring up something right there. You know what? Let's steer this here. Let's steer it in this direction because, you know, like you said, you got a 7-year-old daughter. DJ has a beautiful baby boy. You know what I'm saying? My little partner. You know what I'm saying? That's my business partner. He don't even know it yet because, you know, so we ain't signed the papers because he ain't legally able in the state that he live in. You know what I'm saying? But my little partner, DJ, Young Dallas, and I got a little girl on the way. And just, you know, that emotional intelligence on the parenting side of instilling emotional intelligence in your children, you know, in fact, of understanding, you know, like you said, like telling your not ever telling your child that she can't do something. And I've been around DJ and his wife, my sister E, with Dallas. And, you know, of course, he's at a very, very young age. Dallas is very young.
11 months.
Right. He's not even one years old yet. So, but even at that young age, you know, if he's doing certain things and just, you know, progressing as a child, they don't tell him no. You know, if he's pulling himself up on a couch or something, they don't tell him no. You know, in terms of safety, of course you do, but just that kind of encouragement, because you can see the flip side of it. Even with kids with people with babies and stuff, you know, they tell them no all the time, you know, until something tragic happens. Like me, I touched the stove when I was young, and my people looked at me and said, "I bet you won't do it again." And guarantee, guess what I didn't do? Didn't do it again. I had the emotional intelligence to know that damn stove is hot. Don't touch it.
Well,
you know, it's kind of like that old saying, you live and you learn. But, you know, I just wanted to phrase it in terms of, you know, parenting and just, you know, in life in general of, you know, how much we tell people no, and in the fact of how important it is doing it in your own home, because society and the world will tell us and everybody around us no way more. So just how important is it for your support system, your power circle, to tell you yes and encourage you, because how the outside world will tell you no more times than none.
it's a big yin and yang, man, because everything that you're saying requires a tilt or a lens of balance. And there is some philosophies that I subscribe to, outside of, traditional context, but one of them says that wisdom dwells in contemplation, and it is in contemplation that you must seek wisdom. And so for me, before I even had a child,
don't just skip over that. Don't be pulling out these scriptures and verses and stuff from all of your.
That's not a scripture.
No. I'm just saying. Don't pull out all of this fine educational material out of the wind and don't repeat it for people, like me, that I can write it down and apply it. Come on, run that back.
Yeah, not a problem. So wisdom dwells in contemplation, and it is in contemplation that you must seek wisdom. So when we started talking about having a child, we had to consider all the things that you're talking about right now. You look at the world around you, it's a consideration whether you really want to do that or not. You talk about, the lack of empathy, the hate, the this, the that, and, just to keep it all the way a buck, to really be honest, man, one of the biggest fears I had was having a black boy, because the world is the world is a lot different to a young African American man, and I mean that respectfully to any of our listeners who hasn't had this experience, but I'm also happy that you haven't. I grew up in Selma, Alabama, and I understood what the H&M commercial was about because my neighbor referred to me as such. Now my parents worked hard and was able to move into his block, and he didn't appreciate it. So I would go outside and play basketball, and he would come outside and make sure he let me know how he felt about it because he was retired and I was interrupting him during his day. So I know what hate looks like. My grandmother marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, or she was there during that time. My mother still lives 5 minutes from the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and I have several family members who are involved in that movement. We're not that far removed from a very troubling time, and I think we sometimes forget that because a lot of us have had some advancement. But given my humble beginnings and my background and where my family, chooses to continue to reside today in my hometown, that's not easily lost on me. So those are things that I had to consider and think about along with my wife when we were deciding, if we wanted to conceive or not. And I expressed these concerns to her. I said, look, I need you to be on board with me on how we parent a young black man relative to a young black woman, because while I think both are incredible tasks and a privilege, I think they're vastly different. And we talked at length about that. We waited a while because we had to get on the same page. The reason being is similar to what Dr. Loving said. I think that telling these boys no so much, or these kids know so much early, prevents their exploration. So when I watch my son at 11 months, he's intelligent. He's a manipulator, and I'll tell you that right now. He manipulates his mother all the time. He can feed himself. He proved today that he could stand and take steps, and she didn't know he could do it. And I've been telling her, if you let him, he will. So for me, it's about empowerment. I want to empower our child to go as far and do as much as he possibly can. Oftentimes, as parents, we become a hindrance in the beginning stages because as opposed to watching them explore and seeing how they respond, we just try to prevent in the same way that we were prevented. No, stop, don't do that. I'm more interested to see if he can navigate the situation. Hey, he's crawling on the stairs. We should go get him. No, let's see if he rationalizes how to get back down. Because you could be taking on a task that you don't need to take on. And I can wholeheartedly tell you, Dallas can get up the first 3 stairs now at 11 months. But he also smartly and wisely comes down by pushing down on his stomach and using his feet. He doesn't fall. And if he's going to fall, he puts his hands out and he braces himself. That's learned behavior because I specifically allowed him to do that under my supervision. I never said a word. I just watched. You'd be amazed at what children are capable of doing if you allow them. Now, Dallas won't be taking over my house anytime soon, but I want him. Hey, the hell he will. Listen, but I want to start early, engaging him in the decision-making process about things. When, I've been talking to Dallas since before he was born. When he was born, the doctors, presented him to me. He's crying. I asked him if he knew who I was. Do you understand? Do you know my voice? You've seen these videos, AJ. Mm-hmm. He smiled and stopped crying. Communication is important. What we put into our kids early really affects what we get out. So I completely agree with Dr. Loving as it relates to what you're not going to do is put Dallas J. Wells in a box and say that he can only be this or do that. I'm going to tell him that he can do anything that he's willing to work for. That's the part that we always leave out, right. Because it's not enough to tell a child you can be anything. You have to tie it back to the action. You can be anything that you're willing to work for. Well, Dad, I want to be a doctor. Well, if you wanted to go to school for 8 to 10 years and you want $350,000 in student loan debt, then that's fine because Dad's getting you through college. And then I had to reevaluate that thinking because you know what? Sometimes we place limits on our kids early with that thinking. This is me and my wife talking. Well, what if Dallas wants to do this? Are you going to pay for it? Are you going to finance it? I had to reevaluate that because what if he was the next great surgeon that didn't make it because Dad wouldn't step up?
Or what if, go ahead. But what if just in terms of, because he's at this young age and, let's say he, right now in thinking, we're like, what if he wants to be a doctor? And already we're thinking like, okay, well, I ain't paying for that because that's too much. We'll pay for, undergrad. But then, based on that thinking, unconsciously and subconsciously, we begin to hinder in certain other ways to where it's now he doesn't grow emotionally and intelligently enough to even go in that direction. You know what I'm saying? And I feel that's the point that you were getting at. So go ahead, pick back up.
Yes. You start dictating terms to your kids based on what you want their life to be like. To me, and again, I'm a young parent. I'm new to this. All right, so I welcome all criticism, backlash, whatever, because I don't care. There's a culture that I've established in our household, and I'm responsible for establishing culture. Now, if my wife don't like it, she'll cancel Christmas on it, okay? So I'm not even going to talk tough about that. But
Christmas is canceled. Y'all ain't hear that. Look, if you ain't married, you don't even understand what that means.
She'll cancel Christmas
what
on
that means.
It means the shit ain't happening. The shit ain't happening, all right?
All of what we talking about, let's be honest now,
is emotional intelligence. No,
I'm saying there's a woman that our wives that will come in and say, if it ain't right. That's why I don't advance something until I know I got buy-in, because I know what this was.
That was that balance you talked about.
That's right.
Just tapping into the emotions of your woman or in women in general is just, because they're better with it, in most cases. Not in all cases, like you said, but in most cases they're better into it. But go ahead.
I'm saying that's the third rail right there now. If Melissa's upset, we got to figure some things out. Because my life ain't going to be right until she fix her face. I don't know what it is about us as husbands, but man, when our wife's face ain't fixed right, you can have all of the money in the bank account, all of the different accounts and everything going right, but you ain't gonna have no peace in your heart.
Listen, man.
There's no peace in the valley. The phrase "happy wife, happy life" is the phrase "happy wife, happy life" is honestly the real golden rule in terms of once you get married, that really becomes the golden rule because I don't know, as hard as you want to be in terms of emotion, as hard as you want to be, A woman will make you soft in ways that you never thought, and I dare you to have a daughter. Because Dr. Lovett, you can definitely talk to that. I don't have mine yet, but you got a 7-year-old daughter. It'll turn you into a different person.
Let me tell you this, man.
A child in general, because he's a DJ. You know what I'm saying? Just children.
You got to talk about me, man.
A child and a wife.
You got to talk about me, man. I'm stuck. You got to talk about me.
Let me tell you what happened.
Go ahead.
The other day. I need to get this off my chest.
Get it off there. Right. This is what this is for.
Get this off my chest. We go and pick a night up from the bus stop, and Melissa said, "Hey, let's go for ice cream afterwards." Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but prior to my new car, I had a 2013 Nissan Sentra.
Yeah.
CLOFF interior. Now, I done bought me a 2018.
Wait, let me announce it. Let me. I want to announce it so bad. Hey, listen, man. He went to the dealership with a straw hat on, man. just for shits and giggles, he went down there.
Hey, he pulled that Heathcliff Huxtable with him and Theo with
right. Hey, man, when he sent me the picture of this car because I've been out in Dallas several times, and he's come out to meet me, and hey, let's catch up for dinner before our event tomorrow or what have you. And I'll meet him outside for valet, and not to be presumptuous or anything, but I know he's doing all right. So in typical form, I'm like, "Are you going to valet or did you Uber?" He's like, "Oh no, I'm right there." And and I'm like, "Right where?" He was like, "Oh man, get out of here, man." He was like, "I got that Nissan Sentra over there," and I was like, "You know what? That's pragmatic. That's smart. What have you?" He told me, he said, "Man, I really don't believe in messing my money up in things that don't matter." And this is like in the beginning of us developing a professional relationship. So as we got closer and we spent more time traveling or whatever, and I'm talking to him, he started dripping these ideas out there that he might be thinking about getting another car. But again, you talk about buy-in. Somebody else got to approve this shit at home. So it's like, yeah, man, I'm thinking I might get me another car. So I'm not saying much. I'm like, well, what you thinking? He was like, well, man, just something old school. So I already knew that at some point I was going to get a phone call from him. And I was thinking like Broham Fleetwood 89 Cadillac with white walls on it. But
he is in Texas. He gonna get that low ride,
right?
The swinging of
right. I'm like, man, he about to beat the block down. But man, he sends me this black on black, and I'm talking about he parked it on his lawn. So the story he told about the neighbors being like, look, they were like, this man has parked his damn car on the lawn, and he's bringing down the property values with this Cadillac. And so I can only imagine. Well, it says I can only approximate how you felt when your wife suggested that your 7-year-old daughter get some rocky road in 90 degrees in your brand new Cadillac.
You know I love my entire goal. All this work I do, man, I'm gonna be happy too, but I want them ladies to be happy. So we go to get the ice cream, bruh, in the XTS, right? We go down there to Sonic, and we get, she got the little kids meal with the cheeseburger and fries and stuff, and hoping that she won't wipe them all on the interior, but whatever, And she got a Sprite too, and they both got ice cream. So I'm thinking, man, something gonna spill. She pushes the straw into the small drink, and she pushed it hard enough where the straw went through the bottom.
Oh
no! So it's Sprite now, G. It's Sprite.
Okay.
On the level seats in the XTS, my brother. And
at least it's clear.
Yeah.
Small victories.
Yeah. So let me tell you, this this is my sweet little baby girl, and she hung the moon, man. My baby, look. I've noticed before when, and this is a part of emotional intelligence. I've noticed before if I freak out, she freaks out. But at the end of the day, being real, this is just, it's a sugary liquid that is spilled on the car seat. So she's like, oh no. And then because, I'm like, all right. And here's the deal. And my wife commended me on it. She was like, I know you were mad. I was like, oh, it's okay. And Melissa handed me all. When I say all, I mean all.
All the napkins.
All that was in the whole glove box.
Hey, hold on. Pause for the cause, because I wanna just recognize this cultural difference that I think may exist. Because yeah. You know what I'm talking about. Listen, for those who may not know, black people keep all of the fast food napkins in their glove compartment.
For moments like
all black people, listen. You open my glove compartment box, there's Popeyes napkins in there. McDonald's, Burger King, is napkins from all restaurants in there, because we are not going to go buy baby wipes and Kleenex specifically for the car. No. Black people recycle, and that falls in line with the shopping bags and the trash cans around the house. So, I just wanted to go ahead and recognize that great moment that you tried to slide on right there.
Absolutely.
Well, I have to ask both of y'all. Seriously. Y'all got a junk drawer, man?
Everybody does. What you mean? That's how it's labeled on the blueprint. It's labeled like that.
You got cards in there, dominoes. I don't know. You might have some Uno in there too, man.
Listen. When you go to the furniture store. When you go to the furniture store, when you go to Home Depot and stuff, and you look at specifically the kitchen drawer. When you look at the layout for it, it says the one that goes next to the stove is for random. It says miscellaneous. It says it on there. If y'all don't believe me, if you don't believe me, don't go Google it.
Where you supposed to put your Scotch tape and batteries?
Listen, tell them
warranties.
Tell them.
Anyway,
all the warranties.
Every appliance is in that drawer.
So let me finish. In terms of what I was trying to say is, like, I make an effort now to, even when something is emotionally grating to me, to not make a big deal out of it unless it's a big deal with my daughter, right? Because she, was all upset about doing it, and I could have added to it, and I was like, all right, so I just cleaned it up, and, and I was like, it's okay, it was just a small deal, and Melissa came later, she said, I know you were mad. Yeah, and then let me tell you what she did, because that's my wife and I love her. She went out and cleaned up the strawberry from the sundae that I didn't see that she had dropped on the seat, because that's how my woman cut for me. You know what I mean? See, that's the deal. Is like, I didn't see what certain other stuff that had dropped. She went out there and cleaned that up, because that's how you know what I mean? So for the ladies that's out there, and how you will be with an individual and y'all can work for one another. Man, she knows me, and she does things that sometimes they'd be like, you don't even know when the Lord working for you. I don't even know when she doing what she doing sometimes.
Got a whole personal interior detail, didn't even know it.
Exactly, brother. Exactly. And so that makes me want to be better, though. Honestly, it makes me like, okay, see, when I do something good, she rewards me. She let me know later that she did it.
Hey, don't,
women smart.
Don't go too far with the rewards, man. Don't go too far with the reward. I saw your most recent post around the holiday, man. Don't go too far with the.
Look, man. I'm from the south side of Chicago, and I'm gonna tell you this, man. Like, that you can't sneak pimping by me, but I'm you know, like, I'll be real. I get dressed up nice and deliver speeches here in Dallas and all over the country, and spend all my time getting better at what I do, and I bring all the money back home. And honestly, the most influential person on how I get spent is her. Now, I'm not calling her a pimp because she ain't abusive. But the fact is, she good at what she do. Because I'm happy about it. I'm like, it's all right. Keep on this shit.
Let me tell you, look. We were talking about motivational speakers and how they manipulate.
Sure.
The true master manipulators when it comes to emotional intelligence.
You're going to have to cut all this out. You're going to have to cut all this out.
No, listen. This is what the after show is for. By this time, we've had several sips.
I know that's the problem.
We get more into this truth, and we dive into the true master manipulators are women. And the beauty of recognizing that is respecting it, because you know what I'm saying. Like you said, like once you can get on there, you can understand. Like, hey, I know what you're doing, and there's nothing I can do about it. So let's work together.
She done manipulated me into a 5-bedroom house with that is pristinely clean, with beautiful clothing and placemats, and I can't. How can I, again, as I said before, about the directionality and what people are doing? Are they manipulating you and hurting you, and you ended up in a position where the preacher got everything and you sitting up here starving, or you in a position? I can't. Well, what am I supposed to say about the manipulation that leads to where I am right now with a happy wife, family, beautiful home? I need to just be happy is what I need
but
to
feel violated.
Get manipulated more.
Nothing feel violated a little bit, but happy.
Exactly.
Fellas, at the end of the day, again, it's balance. Talking about, you were talking about she is capable of leading in an area of your relationship that, quite frankly, whether you can do it or not, she's the best at it.
Yep.
And part of emotional intelligence is understanding, hey, if there's a person that's better at doing this than me, I need to empower them to do that. So, I mean, what you have is actually rare, because the way of the world, as things has evolved and changed, I can wholeheartedly tell you, my mother and father, my stepfather, were together until he passed away. He never picked his check up a day in his life after he met my mother. And I asked him if he was crazy. I was 13 years old, and I remember I said, man, we were riding together, and it was a Thursday, and he got paid on Thursdays. He and I were together, and I said, hey, are we going to go pick your check up? He looked at me like I cussed. He said, I don't touch that check. I said, it's your check. He said, your mom's going to pick it up. She deposited it. She gives me what I need, and she's going to make the best decision for us possible. I kind of laughed internally, and I was like, wow, this is a pretty good deal that mom struck here. But being honest, I struggled for years, man, with the thought of going to work. Once I graduated from Tuskegee, I had conversations with people that I may have had an interest in or whatever, and it was, hey, what are you doing after graduation? And the constant line was whatever's best for me. I didn't tell a lot of lies. I didn't do a lot of that type of stuff, because I think that people deserve the ability to choose. But I was concretely focused on doing what was best for me. It wasn't until I got beyond doing what was best for me that my life really changed for the better. And also, I was at a point where I could make more well-informed, emotionally intelligent decisions. Because if you have a woman in your life that you can turn over your resources to, and she multiplies them, and she encourages you to do better things, you got a partner. And a lot of people fail to accurately account for what it is to be at home, raise a child, and do things like that. But trust me, I read studies when we got pregnant. Apparently, you have a personal chef. Apparently, you have a housekeeper. Apparently, you have, a laundry service, a daycare, etc. And on average, in most major U.S. cities, you add those roles up, it's between $75,000 and $90,000 a year that you would have to pay. Yeah, for those collective services. Not to mention the continuity that you're getting by having the child's mother be the primary caregiver. So and even if it's the man staying at home, I don't want to overlook that. But
yeah, absolutely.
I think we do a great disservice at disqualifying folks as being valuable because they're not going to corporate. There's great value if you're emotionally intelligent enough to understand that sometimes it's not about what you spend or what you make. It's really about what you keep. And in our community, all too often, we worry about the accumulation phase of saying my W-2 said this. Well, what did you keep? What did you keep, though? Not to mention, have you diversified yourself to have more than one stream of income so that if this one stops tomorrow, you can continue on? And see, those were the types of business building activities that my mother was investing into her husband when they got together. Like, hey, so you have this skill set. I think you're really great at this and you haven't tapped into it. I'll set it up where we save enough money to start doing this as well. I'll just manage that. But she was going to work as well. It got to a point where he told her, hey, can you do me a favor? You're working too hard. Can you just focus on this? And she did. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that because people get very focused on the roles. Oh, the woman's supposed to clean and cook and blah, 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 and the man's supposed to bring home the money. Look, man, different people are different, are good at different things. You got, in this day and age, who knows what the genders and gender identifications of the individuals who are going to be coupled together will be. But I think if you can get to a place where all of the stuff that needs to get done between the two of y'all can get done and the best person is working at it and y'all are vibing off of one another and you all have a common goal and a common vision and y'all are both working in the best way together for it, man, you can do some special things that might be difficult to do on your own. I see a lot of people poo-pooing marriage and a lot of people in some ways poo-pooing partnership in the efforts to say, that women can do it all, and they can, right? But we as men got to recognize that we can be good partners, and a lot of this is incumbent upon us, as men, because we have been crappy partners in the past. Let's just be real about how it's men. We've been getting a lot more than we've been given, okay? And so to the extent that we can recognize that brightness and that productivity that's available in our, if we're a man dealing with a woman or whoever we're dealing with, man, think outside of yourself, right? And then think about how the two of you, based on what you guys or gals or whatever bring to the table, like how much y'all can do together, right? Without one person stepping all over the other one and trying to, I want to run everything and I want to control you and tell you what to do and you gonna fall in line and all the rest of this foolishness that a lot of brothers and a lot of pimpish Negroes been talking about for a long time. Just being
Well, that's really just the hard influence of like gender roles, where it's like most men go in thinking like, oh, this is what they're supposed to do, but it's like like me personally, I love cooking, and I know my brother DJ. Like DJ, will get on the grill every day if he got the time.
I know he cook.
You know what I'm saying? And like that's honestly, and that came from my upbringing where I saw my father do just as much cooking as I saw my mother do. Just because my father loved cooking. If my daddy wasn't cooking, he was sitting watching Emeril Lagasse because he liked it. Like we watch Food Network as much as we watch a Travel Channel. So it's just really and I think my upbringing of seeing that kind of thing because everybody doesn't see it where it's like because everybody's so influenced on the gender roles, the quote unquote societal norm where it's like the woman just got to cook. It's like no, I cook. And Shannon, my wife will tell you, I do most of the cooking because I love doing it. Plus, I get off a little bit earlier, so I have the time to do it. So it's and that gets into that emotional intelligence and just the leadership qualities that entails. If both people are intelligent emotionally enough to understand, like, hey, you're good at this. I recognize and respect that you're good at this, so we can both agree that you should be the one doing this. And so if you got and that works in relationships where it's like, hey, we both recognize that you better with money than I am. So we both recognize and respect the fact that you ought to be the one handling the money. You ought to be the one that's cooking. You ought to be the one that's doing this, and this because we both are emotionally intelligent enough to understand this is what we are good at individually. So as a unit, you should be the one that leads the charge on this particular forefront because it's going to make us as a unit better. And that's one of the struggles that a lot of people have in marriage is not being able to yield to, each other's strong points just for the simple fact of wanting to control.
Hey, man, pride over progress, like we said last time, because
people overthink
I can hold
over progress before you tap out, tap in.
All the above, because I can wholeheartedly tell you, I am a highly self-sufficient person. I have been for a very long time based on the way I was raised. But I had to learn just because I'm self-sufficient doesn't mean that I don't need help. Just because I can do it doesn't mean that I should do it either. And what you just said is important because people also need to feel valued. And sometimes you can devalue people by trying to, I wouldn't say do it all, but you have to leave. You have to leave room. So for me, I am I wouldn't say I'm an extremely structured person once I get home, but I definitely have a routine. Before I even lay in my bed or lay across my bed, I got to get out of these clothes. I got to take a shower. If you come to my house and you sit on my bed with your all-day clothes on, I'm going to lose my mind. And that might just be
them black
that
rules
just might be a southern thing. That's a southern. I was going to say that's a southern.
No, once again we're gonna recognize the cultural routines. When you get your ass from outside all day, don't you sit on the bed and damn sure don't look. If you're gonna sit on the bed, sit on the edge. Don't you sit on the don't you dare sleep where I put my head with your all day clothes on.
Man.
Get them clothes back my bed. That's a cultural thing.
Put your backside on my pillow.
Listen. Come on, man. Listen. But here's
look. You can keep the shirt. You can keep your shirt on, but you're not gonna put the ass of your pants on this shirt.
Listen, man.
That's how you can walk in the house and see a dead ass sleep with a work shirt on. No pants, just a work shirt on.
Listen, man, my wife is from California, so a lot of things that I'm accustomed to when we moved in together, it was different. I can't say too much because I'm using emotional intelligence. But I'll say the things that she took issue with me instead of vice versa. I didn't know that my wife required the tissue to face a certain direction in terms of her being comfortable rolling it in the restroom. It's like the tissue supposed to face.
Real quick, is it to the front?
It's to the front and it has to roll forward.
Right.
I'm like, I really don't care either way.
What's crazy is I had the same problem because I didn't give a fuck. But the thing that I had to understand was that
I thought I had to put it back on.
Right, but it was that's actually a thing, bro. Like, honestly, bro, I'm coming to you and I'm telling you, that's a real thing. That's one of those, like, debates, and most of the time you'll find that niggas don't give a fuck. Like, men, we don't give a fuck. Like, shit, that bitch gonna come off the road, goddamn hell. I ain't even got to put that bitch on the road. I take that bitch, put it around my finger, and goddamn, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, my God.
But listen,
my God.
You know, women, you know, they have their structure where it's like, no, I need that roll on forward facing.
Hey, listen.
Look, it's got to the point where they have pulled out the patent paperwork where it shows that you're supposed to put it on that particular way. I didn't even go back and. I ran into that same.
I didn't even go back and forth. I didn't go back and forth with her, but the way she told me was very telling. And I asked why she did it that way, and she told me that you are very specific about certain things, and I need to let you know that I am very specific about certain things too. And so I'm like, well, I be chilling. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. She said, well, you don't say anything about me leaving that cabinet open. Man, it was the vein of my existence. I would come home and it'd be like 3 cabinets open. And I'm like, why are the cabinets open? I'm thinking somebody been in here, like, what's going on? I don't leave cabinets open. And she told me, and I didn't know I was doing it. She said, you make it a priority to tell me to close those. Because I wouldn't close them. Because, see, that's me. I'm from the South. My mom would wake me up at 2 a.m. You forgot to wash the dishes. You could have told me that at 9:30. No. I'm going to tell you at 2:30. And you're going to get up and wash them because now you'll remember it.
I'm waiting till you good to sleep. I'm waiting till you get good sleep, like they call it, that good sleep.
But see, here is the opportunity to learn. That was my mama. This is going to be my wife. So what my mother was doing to her child, I couldn't exercise with my wife to be. We had to learn how to communicate differently because it was not going to be well received on either side to be addressed in that manner. It wasn't even derogatory. It was just contentious for no reason because that's what you've been accustomed.
And a mother-child relationship is authoritative because you know it, like, oh, that's the mother, that's the father. I have to.
And I have to do it your way.
Exactly.
This was what you
and all these things. This is an equal partnership, a strategic partnership, a power circle, if you will.
Listen, it's all of that. And if you don't believe that, you better reevaluate it.
Ooh, listen. Before we get too deep off into this, and all of us, end up being in trouble with our significant other. Because listen, I know all of us are right now not too far away from them because these walls are thin where I am and where you all are too. Dr. John, I don't know about you because you got that big ass mansion. Listen, it's all fun. But yeah,
he's in the theater room.
Yeah, probably.
He's in the theater room.
Yeah, he's probably in the research lab or something. I don't know. All over the place. He might be sitting in the back seat of his freshly detailed Cadillac.
I'm in the office.
Oh no, I'm just in my office. You know what I'm saying? I'm just in my office. Ain't no doorway I'm in. I ain't even got a cubicle wall. So listen, I got places to be and places to aspire to be. But listen, man, I appreciate all y'all as always. It's always a blast, man. But yeah, I just had to go and put the reins on it because we'll run this.
That's fair.
Listen, because we got into that realm where all of us are experienced in what we like. Me and DJ, we always call it. And Dr. Jamu is crazy because me and DJ always refer to it as judo, and we'll explain further in the group chat later.
Right.
But, he might already hip you to the game. But I know you into martial arts. What degree are you?
I am a 4th degree brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu under Carlos Machado. So
you'll kick your ass is basically what he just said in a real slick way. I got an office and I'll kick your ass and I'm emotionally intelligent.
but
listen. Us three together are a dominating force, man. Y'all. Listen, we appreciate everybody for being along for this journey. Listen, Dr. John Moore will sit in his office and kick your ass is basically what he just said.
I practice nonviolence.
My whole goal is to make sure that we de-escalate everything and steer every interaction in a positive direction. So you're gonna have so many.
Because you could actually go to jail.
Right.
Because your hands have to be registered. Right.
I don't know about all that, but I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna have so many opportunities to lead things in a positive direction before they go negative. That you know, if somehow I end up having to choke you, it's because you really were determined to get your ass whooped that day.
Listen, we're not gonna glaze over the fact that you just dropped that other subliminal cultural message where it was like, when they ask you what happened, that's when somebody responds, he was asking for it.
I'm just saying, I'm going.
He kept on keeping on.
I'm going to give you all of the gains that I can give you. I'm going to work as hard as I can to push this. I'm going Barack Obama.
Wait a minute.
I'm going to get the voice. All right, let's try to move in a positive direction. I'm going to give you all the Obama I can give you before I got to give you the baby.
Wait. Hold on. Before we get on this phone, he said, I'm going to give you all the gin.
All the gin. One more gin.
I'm done, man.
See, look.
I'm done.
Thank you, DJ, for pointing out that yet another cultural reference from Dr. Lovely. I'm going to give you all the gins I can. One more gin. One more gin.
Man.
I'm going to give you. He got what? One more gin.
Oh my God!
And I'm on it.
I'm gonna send him the YouTube clip of our friend from France being accosted.
Oh yes. Hey.
Oh yes.
Hey, send that to the group, man. Send that to the group chat, man. But listen. As always, I appreciate y'all, man. It's been a blast in the after show for the BREADren podcast, and we always appreciate you all's feedback. And I just want to go ahead and address there may be some technical audio issues with this episode because I did hear I heard the equipment cut out a couple of times on my end, so I'm not sure. So there may be a couple of breaks, but we're working on it. We're doing better. This is only episode 2, so y'all stay tuned, and we appreciate y'all. Follow us at BREADren Pod on Instagram, BREADREN at BREADren Pod on Instagram, and follow all of us on all our social media, DestrianWellsConsulting.com, AjamuLoving.com, MMBBGW.com. It's me, AJ Woodson, Destrian Wells, and Dr. Ajamu Loving, PhD, and we love y'all, and we out.